Hello and welcome to the CNFT News. I'm your host, Scott Chestnut, and that's right, it's just me today, solo hosting. We do, however, have a wonderful guest waiting backstage. We're going to be speaking with SpeedThrone, the project SpeedThrone, and backstage we have Bezid. Bezid? Damn, I should have asked him exactly how to pronounce it before I went live. We have a wonderful man backstage, and I can't wait to pick his brain about this project. I downloaded the demo. It's a racing game, and we're going to be playing it while we interview. Won't that be fun? And we may even be joined by one Summer Horsegrave and son.
Yep, that's what our business is called, Summer Horsegrave and Son. Summer Horsegrave and Son News Contractors. Oh!
Welcome to the stream. Welcome.
I can't wait to talk to SpeedThrone. Vroom, vroom. He probably will like that a lot, you know. That's going to reflect his coming interests for sure.
Yeah, he's going to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But Tyler's feeling very busy today. He's got real life projects. And
Mr. Pistachio gives one sick day a year. So
he picked it.
Looks like this is the one.
Picked this one. We'll see how that works out for him. But Godspeed to you, Tyler, out there.
Godspeed, Throne.
Godspeed, Throne. And there's not a whole lot to say at the head of the show beyond let's effing go. So I think it's time to bring on our guest for some nonsense. We like to start with some nonsense. So let's do nonsense now. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Now, how do we
Thank you for having me.
I want to guess.
Yes, go on.
Bezad.
Almost, yes. So, my name is Behzad. I am the founder of the company behind the SpeedThrone project, actually. So, we are a software and game company based in Stockholm, Sweden. It's actually a bank holiday today in Sweden, and it's like 9 p.m. So, I think we will talk a lot about the SpeedThrone today, but I personally I'm really, really happy to be here and discussing the project with you.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah, I'm glad
Before
to be
we
here
get too serious,
yes,
we're going to start with some nonsense. Find out what you think about some heavy-hitting questions of the day.
Hitting. Yeah, let's go.
Such as, would you rather give up all drinks except for water or give up eating anything that was cooked in an oven?
Give up all drinks for water is probably something that I would do. Yeah, I'm not a drinking guy.
Yeah. And I mean, an oven.
Yeah, like
it's not as rerestrictive though.
Yeah.
Cook stuff in pans.
Yeah. I couldn't do the drink thing.
Fires.
Yeah.
You want to have a variety of drinks.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the
thing is, for me, I don't have that much of a sweet tooth, so that helps the oven for me. Oh, but bread, you have to make that in an oven, don't you?
Pizza.
You could have flat.
Yeah, pizza. No, that's a like red line.
There's special for pizza.
Yeah.
So really, the question is pizza or drinks. What's more important?
I think so. That's like how. Yeah, that's like the way of like answering that question, I suppose. So yeah, I would go with pizza all day long. So there you have it.
I can't fault you for that.
No, I can't either.
So here's a question. There's two ways of gaining glory in this scenario. One is you're the first person to explore a new planet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or the first, or the inventor of a drug that cures some deadly disease, saving probably millions of people.
Right. So
what do you think? Who would you want to be? Would you rather be the disease guy
Oh, I am the disease guy already. I actually used to be the disease guy. Actually,
Nice.
What?
I
That
was
makes it an easy decision, I
my
think.
previous career. That is, but yeah, I mean that definitely the
Well,
disease is
The
where it
disease
is,
guy.
like where the glory is. I think.
Yeah. For me, it's like easy because it's like, okay, let's take care of shit where we are right now. The
Yeah,
other one is like, we're moving on and
Yeah.
we're gonna go find more diseases before we've
there's
even
probably
taken
even
care
more
of this.
diseases on that new planet. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
At
I
some point, you'll
mean,
need someone to cure it.
Let's
yes. I
let's
mean,
keep
why would you want to
home
go?
base stable.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
I
guess
think so.
if you cured the explorers, then wouldn't you be twice as
Yeah,
famous?
I
True.
think so. I mean, you want to be famous as soon as possible. So, like, waiting for that to happen when you have the technology to go explore somewhere else, that's not probably ideal.
Let me ask, what were you doing? What were you
Yeah, what
doing
does that
in your
mean? You
backstory?
were at the
Oh,
museum.
my backstory. So my backstory is that I was working in game and 3D industry, game development, like back in 2002.
A
So
Nice.
it's like
natural
20 years
crossover.
ago. Yeah. And then I decided that, oh, I want science. I want to go follow science. And then I did. And then I did my PhD and I did like
Wow.
work as a molecular
Nice.
biologist for like 5 years as postdoc. And I was working in neurodegenerative diseases and Alzheimer's disease and ALS. And then at some point I realized, nah, I want to go back to
I want to
gaming.
play games again.
I want to play game again. So we decided to found this company back in
I love
2015.
that.
That's
I
So
right.
mean, I really love that. It just seems like a really good balance, that
yes,
it sort of just gives you a taste of the complete opposite. You get to
yeah.
come back and yeah.
I mean the complete irrelevance that is, but yes, I think it's a nice thing to experience both sides of
Mhm.
the career life. So one is like the academic career, and one is
Biological
like
and wise,
the
biological
non-academic
and
career.
digital.
So
Yeah.
yes,
Interesting. Yeah.
so yeah,
Pretty good answer.
yeah,
Okay, here's another question. Would you rather be the king of a
mhm,
large country
right.
2,000 years ago or some, thousands of years ago in the past,
Hmm.
or an average person today?
Oh well, that's an easy one. Probably the king, like 2,000 years ago.
So
Yeah, I
you
would
would
like.
give up all the gaming and all that.
Well, there is different types of gaming. You could probably have a different type of game in
You can
2,000
play
years.
lots of interesting games on your courts and your veranda.
Most likely, most likely.
True.
It's all about entertainment in the end. So.
That's right. And you could invent the national game that all your people would
So
play.
they'd have to play it.
Yes.
Or else.
Yeah, if you are the king, they have to play it.
Exactly. And they have to
I mean,
tend to like it.
you had me at king because we are building a speed throne. So
That's true. Yeah, we got
That's
to
true.
sit in on this
That's
throne
a
of
good point.
speed.
That's right.
All right, cool.
Perfect.
That's some good nonsense. Any other
I'm
further
intrigued. I think you have
nonsense?
some very intriguing answers. I feel like I
Uh,
feel like I know you more already, and I love that. Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Great. Then let's begin the actual segment, and we do that with a special guest intro.
Yes.
All right, welcome to our Speed Throne segment. Very happy to have you here and to chat about this game. And we're gonna, while we chat about it, I'm gonna pop it up.
Oh
and we'll
yes.
see.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous. And look at those colors.
Well, it's not up yet.
Oh, sorry. We have similar taste in colors.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm just gonna blast around the track here while you tell us maybe a little intro, like what is the project, what's the point of the project, what was the idea behind the project?
Yeah. So SpeedThrone is a racing game, clearly, but the style is that you are racing small radio-controlled cars. So they are like not real-size cars.
Uh,
Uh, but that is adding an element of making the game more like an arcade style game where you have to race through the racetrack and pick up points, play it in a way that pick up items that would boost your nitro, pick up elements that would help you gain points, because that's the whole idea of
Yeah.
this mode that you are playing here. It's called Point
Woo!
Rush.
Yeah.
So the
Filter.
goal is that you want to pick up points as much as you can, and then there is a live leaderboard that you can basically climb your way up on it. So the idea of a SpeedThrone is to eventually become a multi-chain racing game. So
Nice.
effectively, we have built the game's backend in a way that it allows for integration of different blockchains into the game, and by that I mean we can allow people to have NFTs on Cardano or Polygon or Ethereum, different layer 2 Ethereum solutions, or anything. Even like we have been like discussing it in Discord about like having ordinals on Bitcoin and see
Yeah.
how would that support the game.
Ordinal
But I think
racing.
yeah, so the motivation here is that we want to make it like a broad game where there is a lot of player base and a lot of people can actually play the game. At the same time, we are making it free to play, so anyone can play it. So we are removing all the entry barriers that would normally cause people to not play the actual
Right.
game, because they have to invest in an NFT, or in buy like some tokens to pay for like racing or those type of things. We want to avoid that. We want to make it accessible to anyone, and I think that's our whole mentality, is that if we bring someone that has no understanding of blockchain and Web3 at all, and then they find our game and play our game, and then that motivates them to go build a wallet and create a wallet and get some NFTs, that's when we think we have done our job, because our mission is, in the end of the day, to promote mass adoption of the technology, and I think that's the way to do it. And well, making the game free to play basically means that our revenue is basically going to come from people who enjoy having a different experience on the game, like they want to interact with the game's marketplace, buy some cosmetics, have a different game experience than other people would do. So basically, that allows us to integrate a lot of novelty into the game's economy system with blockchain technology, and having a token as in-game currency, and all sort of
Yeah.
interesting things that we can implement in it.
I think more and more that seems just like the best way to do it, just not the less complicated it can be to get in and start getting into something, the
Yeah.
the better off it's going to be, because then you just have more people to spread how
Yeah.
awesome it is, and etc.
Yeah. So I think that's exactly the motivation here. We want to make it so that people learn about the project, learn about the game, and then those who want to dive deep into the ecosystem of the game and actually start to look at it from a play to earn perspective or those type of thing, then that's reserved for people who actually want to dive deep into the project. But otherwise, it's just a casual game that anyone can play and have fun with it.
So what kind of a deep dive potential does this project have? What?
So the idea is that we have a play to earn model that is revolving around the currency that we have for the in-game sort of for the in-game currency. So the way that it's going to function is that we are going to have events that would basically reward the people on the leaderboard based on their performance, and effectively will make it play to earn. So
Oh,
basically,
wait. Look, we're right next to each other on the leaderboard.
Oh, that's
oh wow,
on
nice.
screen and on leaderboard.
Yes, that's
Bravo.
good. So that means it looks like you are already above me, no? Yes.
I beat you.
So yeah, yeah, that's disappointing for me,
You should
having developed this game for like 2 years.
Really love
But
playing video games.
jokes aside, I think the whole idea about play to earn is about an event-based approach. So that
Okay.
means
Yes. We got a
the
little
more NFTs or special items you have from the game, the more you are going to be experience like higher reward pools, those type of things. Essentially, a different experience of the game.
Yeah, and I see we have a special event button here on the front page.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
When are we going to start seeing those?
So this version of the game that you are playing is our very first implementation
Yeah.
of the game. That's why it's called like demo.
Yeah.
I'm
I
about to
think
go see where I rank after this.
yes. So the idea with the demo is that we just wanted to give a taste of what the project could be eventually to our community, to our earlier supporters. So the game itself is going to be much larger than what you are seeing here now, because we want to basically we have different modes of the game that we are not really revealing yet in this demo version. And we have like there are different cars, different racetracks, much
I
much
can
more
imagine
like
amazing
Yeah.
tracks with this. Like,
I
I
like
just
that.
there is a lot of room for creativity. But the idea for that is that we wanted to just basically showcase some of the gameplay and how it is done. So what I can tell you from now on is that we are basically going to give a new patch in the coming mm, weeks. That is probably in 2 to 3 weeks from now. We have it set and ready, but we want to basically make sure everything is right, because this new patch is going to have a Cardano wallet integration into it, so
Right.
people can actually
great.
use their NFTs inside the game. So that is going to be the main update. But at the same time, we want to change the balance of the game, address some of the exploits and bugs that we have experienced, or people have experienced and reported to us, and effectively add the event implementation. But the event thing is going to be dedicated to different Cardano projects. So we are essentially making it so that people from different communities in Cardano will have a dedicated no, not a dedicated racetrack, but they will have this very racetrack that we were just playing, but decorated in a different way with their
Mhm.
banners and
Sure.
somehow so that it's like their sort of event.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and then they will have their own exclusive leaderboard, and effectively we are
Oh, that's
basically
rad. They get to race their
starting.
community. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea is that we want every community to actually, we are just coordinating with a lot of communities in the space to have their own exclusive sort of
Mhm.
events. And with that, we are also promoting our own project, but also promote the other projects. So you can see that a
Mhm.
lot of different uh, projects that we are partnering up with are represented here in these billboards here. So yes, so that's the whole idea with
Yeah.
this implementation of the event. But I think in future events are going to be like divided into daily events, monthly events, weekly events, this type of setup that would also require entry levels. That would mean you need to have a certain NFT card with a particular engine class that would allow you to join a particular event with like a set
Yeah.
amount of rewards.
That's basically all this is going to be opened up once you get the Web3 wallet integration in
Yes.
place.
So I think that we are. This is like very early implementation of the game. The full game we are expecting it to be released probably in about 6 to 9 months from now. So we are still in a very early development stage, but we are also trying to time it so that there is interest for it from the Web3 perspective, because now we are in depths of the bear market. So we are
Truth.
also trying to time it up so that there is more euphoria in the market for
Yeah.
Web3 games, and
No
then we
doubt.
start to shine.
No doubt. That awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna pop up y'all's Twitter here. We can scroll through, take a look at some other stuff. I like to have something up
Yeah.
while we're
I
chatting.
want to know,
Yeah.
like how the integration of Web3 is gonna be able to make this so much cooler. Like
So
that's what I am imagining.
yes, I think the idea is that we want to make it sort of a platform for competition, not only between different communities, but also between different blockchains if possible. So we want to organize an event between people from Cardano to people from Ethereum to people from, I don't know, Polygon, Solana, wherever.
Yeah.
So that's the mentality here, that we want to make this platform be what people can use to settle their differences inside the game. So I think that's the big idea here with the multi-chain aspect. But in general, the assets that we have, like the NFTs that we have minted already on Cardano, those NFTs are going to, give access to certain features that is necessarily not unlocked for people who are just experiencing the free version.
So you
Yeah.
won't necessarily have an NFT of that, like let's take for example like a vehicle skin or something. Would it be like you hold an NFT and this unlocks like a few different things, or will you sometimes
No.
sell the actual NFT of the thing that's being unlocked?
Right. So I can tell you that. We already have minted a lot of our NFTs. So if you look at Cardano, we have minted two different collections. One is, of course, the VIP membership. So this one right here is our King Series NFT. So these are very limited stuff. So these are the ones that we have given basically as an airdrop to our OG members. They are the
Mhm.
kings in the server. And people who own these NFTs are basically involved in decision making. So
That's
we
awesome.
actually have a decision coming up uh, about the alpha series that we can go and check it out after this one, and that's something that our kings are going to decide on. So it's a speed throne by all means. So speed is the game side, and the throne is our lore based sort of community approach, and everyone is either a king or uh, like a royalty of some sort eventually. But I think these ones are more of an exclusive um, sort of NFT that gives you particular access to certain features of the ecosystem. But the alpha series are the ones that are the core of our sort of game. And with the alpha series, the idea is that you can see the full kit of racing, and that is basically going to unlock a lot of different sort of in-game features.
Here's the Alpha series. Yes. So let's pop that up and take a look. Yeah, that King one really caught my eye. Love that. Okay, here we go. So we're seeing the actual stats of the car, some stuff that it comes with.
Yes. So
Yeah.
so each NFT from this series is actually made of, first of all, it's probably the first algorithmically assembled NFT on Cardano that is fully, all the traits are fully animated, everything is moving.
Yes.
So there is no other, algorithmically assembled video format NFT. Everything else is like
Yeah.
replicates or something like that. But these ones are all, assembled and built the traits on. But you can see that there is the car, there is the design of a faction on the car, and that's something that is related to our story and lore. There is the steering wheel up there to the right, and this is a little bit of alpha, but I think the utility of that is to add a small boost to your drifting points. So because when you are also drifting, you also get points. So
So
this
extra
is
points for drifting.
a small extra point, yes, because we had a lot of boost on the drifting points, and people started to really really abuse that mechanism. And I think
Oh,
that was the idea. So we are nerfing that a bit, but we are adding a little bit of that experience
yeah.
having points while drifting into these traits. Next is up to the left is the engine class. We have 5 of those, and basically they are what allowing people to join particular events. So that's like a prerequisite for like participating in a particular event. So that's the engine class. There is the special item. I'm not going to reveal that much about them because
Uh-huh.
they are basically the bread and butter of how you interact with the game, what features and what sort of extra bonus you would get from the game itself.
Uh-huh.
This one has a range, but I think you can see a lot of different types of
Yeah.
special items in different
Yeah, you
things.
mentioned this is
And then the driver part is the most fun part, because then you can see that there are some CNFT characters in there too. So
oh.
so if you see, like, yes, down to the right, yes, you see two of them actually in this one.
Uh,
There is one Shield Kongs, and then there is
yeah.
one Ancient Dragon Alliance NFT.
That's,
So these were basically represented from those communities to us, and basically we had them 3D modeled and introduced them to the game as 3D models, basically. So this shield coin was probably nominated by a member from the shield coin community, and then we took it and then we made it into character that is a driver. So the driver trait is mostly there as a cosmetic
I
thing.
love that. Yeah, well, it's badass.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So these, you said these were all kind of put together algorithmically. What did you guys have to create a process for that? Did you use a service?
No, we actually did it ourselves. Basically, it was a production hell, I should say. We had to render every background image that would contain 4 of the traits, like the background, the car, the design, the rims are also a cosmetic trait,
Oh, really?
and then the car itself. So there were like 4 traits into one video, and then we had to layer 4 different traits individually on top of those videos and then make it a random process. So so it was a really
Yeah.
difficult. There weren't that many people who actually could provide this service to us, and
Oh,
we talked to a lot of people. But I think in the end of the day, we had to like step up our development and like make it ourselves. So we basically developed a tool that would do this for us.
so this, you're saying that SpeedThrone is a project that is being put out by a company that is separate, a separate entity that is, this is just a project, whereas a lot of projects are the companies in this
Yes.
space. So this is a little different setup. Can you tell me more about that?
So the company is called Orion Unix. It's most of our focus is on game development and animation and software development. Our activities on the software development is a bit smaller, but for the animation side and the game development side, we have a track record of a lot of projects that we are working with, and this ranges from like I don't know how much am I allowed to say without violating any NDAs, but we
Careful.
have like projects from military projects here that want to present their weapon to NFT projects that want to create their visual art or full-on games. Like I think you have met the Eternals, the Deadly Sins,
Oh, yeah.
and Zora is our friend in that project, and basically what we are doing is helping them with their
Yeah.
project called the Overworld, and we are essentially helping them with the game elements and designing the game environment and helping with that. So I think that's one of the other projects that we have. But we have a couple of other projects in the lab, in the studio that some of them I'm allowed to talk about, and some of them I'm not allowed to talk about. So.
Sure, of course. Well, how many team members are there in your studio?
So basically, we are we are 2 core, founders of the project, but
Yeah.
we have about 12 employees that are working from graphic designs, UI UX design, 3D modeling. You can imagine a lot of them, and some guys who are basically helping with the software development and basically developing different things. We were lucky enough to recruit, actually not recruit because he joined us as a kindness. So one of our community members is a very experienced CTO that is really knowledgeable when it comes to developing smart contracts on both Cardano and other platforms. So he joined us, and he just fit right in. And I think we have been receiving a lot of help and support from his side. So I can say that our team is kind of complete now. We have all the aspects that you would imagine, from the HR side to community management, and we have a bunch of fantastic lads helping us with moderating the project and the Discord server. So apart from those, there are 12 employees that are working on the project.
12. That's pretty good. How long have you guys been working in this studio? When did
So
it started?
so we started the studio late 2019, so essentially 2020. So at the time, well, before that, we had a lot of other projects that we were receiving and working as freelancers or those type of mentality. But I personally was a bit away from the gaming side of
Mhm.
things. But when I decided to come back into the gaming and start to make this, passion of mine, or like basically go back and dig into my past and try to retrieve something that I had in my old careers, we decided to, start to work on a game as like the first motivation, and then we started to accept other projects for the company itself. And we started with a gaming project from RGMMC. They are the global organizers of karting competitions,
Mm,
and that allowed us to build assets for a racing game and build the mechanism for the racing game that we also wanted to do anyways for SpeedThrone. So I
nice.
think that was a good coincidence that we were working on two racing projects at the same time, essentially. So that helped us save a lot of budget, as you can
Right.
imagine. But at the same time, I think we had received a lot of other projects because of the networks that we had, and eventually we started to basically use those funds in order to develop a SpeedTron. And of course, we had a couple of NFT sales here and there on Cardano, and now we are actually diving deep into actually fundraising for the project and making it the big sort of project that it deserves to be eventually.
All right. So, what drew you to racing? Sounds like it was in the air.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
So,
So,
the question is, what drew you to racing specifically? It sounds like
aha,
it's
yeah.
kind of popped up in a couple ways.
Yeah, so I think there was a lot of different things. First of all, we could see that there are not that many cool racing games in the space when it came to being a e-sport sort of game. At the same time, having high quality visuals and everything like that. So we decided to tackle that first, and then said, yeah, we have this other project. Maybe why don't we just make it as like take the ability and like use these assets that we are building for these other projects
Right.
and make something cool with it for ourselves as well. So I
Nice.
think that was the biggest motivation. But I think Speedthrone is not only about the racing game itself, because the biggest ideas when it comes to Speedthrone is on the token design and economy design side.
Mm.
I think that's the aspect of the project that is really overlooked until now because we haven't really focused on it yet. But I think the whole goal of the project is to create this sustainable play to earn model that is never implemented before. So
Well, would you like to give me your overview
yes,
of that? Because I
yes, absolutely.
don't think I understand
So
that part yet.
So as I mentioned, we are building a game that is revolving around market activity when it comes to economic activities,
Okay.
right? So the goal is that essentially we want our governance token and the in-game currency token to be one thing. So we are going to avoid the two token system that a lot of earlier implementation of games in Web3 were using, and basically have everything in one package, right? And then those tokens that are going to be used for their utility inside the game in the marketplace, we are not going to circulate them back into the circulation. Effectively, every time a player uses those tokens to purchase an NFT or like purchase a ticket inside the game or do anything inside the game with the marketplace, those tokens are going to be removed. So essentially, we don't have a circulation of a token, and we rather have a lifeline of the token. So
Interesting.
essentially, that means every time players are going to use those tokens are going to be burned. That means that when we have more players playing the game, and the game is free to play, everyone can play it. So every time a new player joins the system, the economic equation is going to be that we have more demand for the token, and at the same time we have less supply for the token because the rate of burning is going to increase. So technically the equation for the supply and demand is always going to shift towards having less supply and more demand. That means
Mm.
the system becomes scalable and sustainable because a lot of the other Web3 projects or even earlier implementations like Axie Infinity, for example, they suffered from this inflation of the
Yeah.
tokens that were rewarded. So if you look at the charts for SLP, for example, it's like always going down because the more players play, there is more SLP and there is more in the market. And of course, there is less value for that. That prevents people from actually basically earning anything because they are just earning a token. And in fact, it acts as a negative sort of promoter. You know why? because
Right.
you would think that if I bring my friend to play this game, he is going to earn more SLP, and then that means there is more SLP in the circulation anyways, and then my SLP becomes worthless too. So why would I do that? But I think with this approach, we are basically making that upside down. So the whole problems when it comes to play to earn and economic models for the Web3 play to earn games, we are basically turning that upside down and making it so that it's working the other way around. So it's become more valuable when more people play.
So does that mean you've minted the tokens and there will never be any more minted, or how does it
Yes.
work? So will
So
they
so the
at some point?
So when the token generation event happens, what's going to happen is that we are going to have a smart contracts distributing the total supply of the tokens into different smart contracts that are going to release these tokens according to a vesting schedule, right? So that means the total supply of the tokens is fixed. And then there are two ways to get the tokens now, whether you go to an exchange and purchase SPT tokens, or you play the game and like make it to the cutoff of the rewarding and the leaderboard, and you earn SPT tokens. So since the total supply is fixed, there is no other way to get your hands on the tokens anyway. There is one more way that I haven't mentioned. We have this community token at the moment that we are rewarding to people as a placeholder effectively for people who actually interact with the game and like play the game. So what we want to do with that is that eventually when the actual token is live and minted, we are going to allow those people to exchange their community token. It's called the shards, CRS, for like the short format. Those Throne shards are going to basically be able to be swapped with the actual token itself when the time comes.
When it's time, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so it's basically like locked and will be slowly dripped out over time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's legit. And
I think
is there a possibility to mint more, or is it locked? Like, is it
it's locked. I think it will be locked. It's locked to 300 million tokens, according to our tokenomics, and there won't be any more of those tokens essentially. And every time people use them, there's going to be only less and less of that.
How long do you think it'll last, yeah?
Oh, well, it depends on the governance system, because when people start to spend these tokens, their valuation is going to increase. And at some point, probably one SpeedThrone token is going to worth more than what you would actually pay for the car itself to interact with. I mean, at some point, you realize that, oh, it's maybe too expensive to pay using that token, and I would rather pay with like fiat money to have this access. So that's our revenue model effectively.
Are the tokens splittable? Can they go down places?
Yes. But I think what is the interesting factor in this aspect is that the valuation of the token is somehow going to be pegged against the fiat valuation of an asset that you would basically interact with inside the game. So if you want to buy this upgrade to the car that would temporarily allow you a engine class 5 instead of engine class 2, I'm just creating an example, you would have to pay like $1 or 10 SPDT tokens, right? And then at some point, valuation of 10 SPDT tokens is going to be more than $1. But to begin with, it's probably going to be much less. And we have designed it in a way that there is always a motivation for using SPDT tokens instead, because when you do that, you get a big discount, whether it's 50 to 80%, depending on the asset that you are purchasing. So you are always motivated to use the SPDT tokens, but at some point the valuation is going to increase. So this creates like a win-win scenario for early holders, investors, the team, and people who are actually playing to earn from the game. So I think that's probably the biggest game-changing aspect of the project that we haven't really unveiled yet, because we are waiting for the opportune moment actually. But also we have to conclude our fundraising rounds before we actually implement the token. So that's what we are doing now.
Yeah. So when do you think that token's going to drop?
Oh, I think the sooner we are starting to raise funds for the seed round now, and there will be another round which is the private round, and then there will be a public round. But I think we are expecting the token to be launched probably in about 6 months' time. If we can conclude the rounds earlier, we would do that earlier. I think everything in this regard comes down to how the markets are in terms of
Yeah.
like us finding the right investors, or also like having the demand for the token itself that would actually make the investment profitable for either the public that want to invest on the project, or essentially everyone else that is like whether angel investors or VCs or anything else. So I think there is a sort of catch 22 here when it comes to uh, finishing the fundraising round and actually having the tokens deployed. So yeah.
Well, we'll be following along. It's pretty good to hear about this whole project. It's crazy, all the ones that fly under the radar.
Yes.
Everyone's just missing stuff all the time. That's what I'm learning. Nobody knows
Yeah.
what's going on in this space.
Yeah.
Even the people who do this all the time, getting on and talking to people.
Yes, I can imagine. There's a lot of projects out there, to be fair. But I
So
think the idea is that we are waiting for the right time to boom. So
makes
we
sense.
haven't really spent anything on the marketing side yet, and we have plans for that, of
Great.
course. So
We'll be following along, no doubt. We're coming to the end of this segment. Do you have any final info you want to get in here, or shout outs you want to drop?
I think I want to first send a shout out to all the members in our community. Those guys are chats. Everyone has helped us, supports us, and engaged with the project from the very beginning. And we really, really couldn't achieve anything without their support. But at the same time, I want to give a teaser about what's about to come, and that is the update that we are going to release. And I think there is going to be a garage feature that looks absolutely amazing. I have looked into this, and I think people are going to like it. So wait for that update to come in. We had scheduled it to be on 20th of May, this like in 2 days, but I think we won't be able to make that deadline. But I think we are set to have it launched within the next 10 to 15 days.
All right, garage. We're going to see a sneak peek anytime soon.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Great. Look for that. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for coming. This was great. I really did enjoy playing through, and I'm looking forward to playing some more as the development continues.
Yes.
And
Thank you
earning
very
some
much.
tokens, no doubt.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we're going to close the whole stream, actually. Normally we go and do news, but as a lot of the members of the news team are on hiatus, Will, who does our news research, still
Yeah.
taking a little hiatus. Tyler, who's right here, I promise. There he is.
Yeah.
Who is our co-anchor, unable to join today. You saw a little bit of my wife.
Yeah.
The baby's not on the wall, but you know, he was
Yeah.
around.
My son is actually almost the same age. Well, not almost the same age. My son is 1.5 years old, so
Oh wow,
still very young.
it's a crazy thing, kids.
It is, I know.
All right, well, for the CNFT news, I'm Scott Chestnut, and thanks for tuning in.